Proverbs 6:6. Go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Britons pay staggering £8 billion bill to cover record number of unemployed migrants. A record number of migrants living in the UK are unemployed or economically inactive, a new report has revealed. The damning report suggested out-of-work migrants cost the British taxpayer, wait for it folks, I've already said it, I'll say it again, an estimated £8 billion. £8 billion! Okay, this is not just Labour that's responsible for this. This is also the Tories who allowed this. But then again, they're all one of the same. They're all cut from the same cloth, these politicians we've got in the houses of whatever you want to call it. But they're all cut from the same cloth. We get exactly what we get all the time. They promise us this, they promise us that, build back better, all this kind of stuff. The foundations is the latest one from Keir Starmer and his steer Armada, something like that. Anyway, he was allowing the invasion to come across the channel, just like the Tories did. But Starmer loves it. He wants more and more. And they're going to add to these figures, aren't they? They're not going to be working. They're costing us billions to keep them. And I've just read that scripture in Proverbs 6:6 concerning those that are coming over supposedly from war-torn countries without, I don't see many women or hardly any. The odd one maybe, just as a publicity stunt. But where are the women and children? Are they back in these war-torn lands? Are they back there fighting the enemy? No, they're not. And also, what about all the safe countries they pass through? Amazing. Proverbs, we've heard it all before. This is the thing. And we have to keep repeating it. You know why? Because they're not listening. The politicians are not listening. 6:6. Go to the ant, O sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. This is to all those that have come over here and they're not working. Why aren't they working? Why are we paying for them? Why is it, if you're a native Briton, right? Why is it you're a native Briton that you are treated far worse than any of those migrants coming over, whether economic migrants or whatever they're supposed to be? The illegals, the lot. The irregular immigrants, according to Starmer. But anyway, we'll read on. I could rant on forever. Official figures show 1,689,000 non-UK nationals are either unemployed or classified as economically inactive because they are not looking to enter the workforce. I did a video the other day. 70% of jobs, I think, that over the past 5 years have gone to migrants and overseas workers coming into this country. 70%. 70%. The latest figure, at least they want to work. The latest figure is a slight increase on the recorded at the start of 2024. This is the Office for National Statistics, okay? This isn't Joey in his mother's basement. This is the Office for National Statistics. Pressure is mounting on the Home Secretary Yvette Cooper after Labour government paused Tory plans to increase the income requirement. So this is the Tories, okay? They lowered under, I think it was Johnson, the income requirement to bring a foreign partner to the UK from 29,000. Okay, what we want is for it to be increased, but it's at 29,000, and Labour are also stalling on increasing that figure. But the Tories brought it down to 29,000. And this was after we left the EU, supposedly. Conservative measures to stop foreign students and care workers bringing family members with them to the UK led to a 35% drop in visa applications in the first half of 2024. Now, that's what the Tories did. They stopped them bringing, but they allowed them in the beginning, and stopped them bringing in family members. This was care workers, etc. Cheap labour, folks. Cheap labour. Now, Labour weren't in at the start of 2024. So, the interesting thing is, I wonder if Labour will reverse this. We soon see. Despite voters expressing concern about a surge in net migration post-pandemic, Labour is now facing calls to increase new arrivals to deliver Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner's home building boom. Okay, so they want to increase new arrivals to increase the home building boom. Who's going to get those homes? And what's up with us building them with our own people? What's up with us training our school leavers to be builders? What's up with us preparing our own native population to build this country to what it should be, not to what it is now? A country rampant with knife crime, with violence, with crimes, real crimes, by the way, that are not investigated by the police. Personal experience, violent crimes, all the evidence given, all the evidence provided for the police, CCTV footage, the name of the person who committed the crime, violent offender with a history of violence, everything given, witnesses, the lot, admissions, the lot, multiple witnesses heard this person confess to their crime, violent crime, multiple statements given, and yet, 12 months later, nothing. Yep, nothing. And that's personal experience, folks. We're living in a land now where you got to defend yourselves. No wonder people are starting to tool up. No wonder. Sir Keir Starmer was also dealt a blow yesterday after the GB News revealed more than 20,000 migrants have crossed the Channel so far this year. This is the Centre for Migration Control, the Centre for Migration Control put the cost to the taxpayer of record levels of migrant worklessness at as much as 8.5 billion a year. 8.5 billion. Robert Bates, researcher director at the Centre for Migration Control, said last night, for all the talk of a fiscal black hole, the Labour government seemed to be missing the glaringly obviously fact that mass migration is causing economic pandemonium. Economic pandemonium. And this is the Centre, for Migration Control. There is no reason for us to continue handing out so many long-term visas when we are currently having to... And these are those with the visas! To currently have to bail out over 1 million migrants who are already in Britain but not working. We're bailing out 1 million migrants in this country not working. How did they get here? How did they get here? This is the very definition of a Ponzi scheme. And guess who's paying for this Ponzi scheme, folks? You, me, in our taxes, okay? I wasn't asked. These aren't genuine refugees. These are just economic migrants coming in. And then we've got the illegals, or are they now called the irregulars by Stormorder? This is the very definition of a Ponzi scheme, and we'll only compound the problem if we do not change course soon. It's not changing, folks. They're not going to change it. This is part of the narrative, part of the agenda. It's called Agenda 2030, the World Economic Forum. Check it out. Stormorder and his cronies, also those before him in the Tories, are all part of this agenda. Globalisation, wealth redistribution at the cost of others, to the benefit of those who don't want to work. As we can see here, 1 million migrants unemployed in the UK, costing us 8 billion a year. And now we've also got the illegal immigrants, or the irregular immigrants, shall I say. But no, I'm going to keep calling them the illegal boat invaders. He added, our elderly are facing a potentially deadly winter as Keir Starmer cancels the lifeline of the winter fuel allowance, but at the same time he is doing nothing to clamp down on workless migrants. The Centre for Migration Control calculated the cost attributed to workless migrants could skyrocket to as high as, guess what folks, 20.3 billion. However, a government spokesman said it is incorrect to apply an average cost to migrant out of work, as estimates need to take into account individual circumstances. What baloney! If they're out of work, it doesn't matter what their individual circumstances are, they're still costing. Let's just say, for instance, they're out of work because they can't work. They came here not able to work. They were allowed in, not able to work. And we're paying for them to live here at our cost. Health service at our cost. If I went to America, I'd have to buy insurance. If I went to Europe and something happened, I'd have to pay for it. Why can they come here and get everything free at our cost? Most education and welfare costs are not applicable to working age migrants who are not students. Are just gobbledygook. What on earth? Any excuse. You know what? This is a Judeo-Christian supposed country, or it was, based on its laws on Judeo-Christian heritage. Oh, we have got a Judeo-Christian heritage reaching back. Okay, and then we read Paul the Apostle. And he's speaking to, yes, he is speaking to Christians in the first century, the first believers. And there were some that were idle and they weren't working. Okay. And they didn't want to work because they were getting free handouts. And Paul says to them, Paul the Apostle writes, 2 Thessalonians 3:10. For even when we were with you, we used to command this to you. If anyone is not willing to work, neither let him eat. If anyone is not willing to work, neither let him eat. It says, not if anyone is incapable of working. It says, if anyone is not willing to work. Willing to work. Okay? First off, this country shouldn't be overrun with mass migration the way it's being allowed to happen. It's been allowed to happen. And there are those amongst them now who can't work. And they've allowed in those who can't work anyway, let them in anyway. But it says here, willing to work. I am not having that 99.999% of those who have come into this country and are not working and costing us 8 billion a year are willing to work. They are not willing to work. They are relying on us, the British taxpayer. Whether you're a British taxpayer of African descent, of Polish descent, of Ukrainian descent, of Spanish descent, of Australian descent, whatever descent, and if you're paying taxes in this country, you're paying for those who are not willing to work. And based on Paul the Apostle, and this is supposed to be a Judeo-Christian country, says they shouldn't eat. We should not be supporting them if they don't want to work.